Good evening, and welcome to the House of Overthinking. Tonight, before I light my candles, I would like to explain why there are three, and why one is white, one is red, one is black. As I'll be talking about the triple goddess today in the context of Agatha All Along, there will be one candle for the maiden, one candle for the mother, one for the crone. The maiden is white, because she represents purity and innocence and youth. The mother is red, because she is at the fullness of her feminine power and has given blood through the act of birth to bring new life. And the crone, represented by black, who is in the shadow years, representing the winter and the dark and the night and rest. And she is as wise as she is terrible. So tonight I want to talk to you about the Ballad of the Witch's Road. I've been having more ideas than I expected. Agatha All Along has been really fantastic. I don't want to say surprised, because I had every hope that it would live up to this sort of standard, but with so much toxicity around, you can't help being afraid that it might fuel that wave of negative sentiments. So it has filled my heart with joy to see YouTube filling with videos of people reacting to it positively, and people who weren't necessarily too enthused coming into it, warming up to it, being pleasantly surprised. I have loved Agatha for a very long time. I've been aware of her for decades because I've been reading the comics for a long time. And to see her in this position of prominence, it's very satisfying. I love that Catherine Hahn went nude. That was brilliant. Although I would argue that perhaps a witch can never truly be naked, because a witch, when she is without clothes, is sky-clad, which means she is wearing the raiment of the heavens. She's clothed in the sky. In a narrow interpretation of the definition, you could say that sky-clad really only means nudity in the context of a ritual, so it is ritual nudity, but I prefer the idea that a witch can never truly be naked, because a witch is always sky-clad. Another thing I really loved was the way that Agatha's disenchanting happened in stages, like gradually waking up from a coma. She didn't just bounce back into the real world. It really, she had to be teased out of this enchantment, and I love the way that Aubrey Plaza kind of fuels that. She is definitely in a league of her own, that woman. One thing I didn't like was the performance of the Ballad of the Witch's Road at D23. When they came out on the stage and performed that, I had a reaction of, oh, really? This feels off tonally. This is strange. I didn't love it. But then in the context of the show, I found this song quite captivating and an absolute earworm. So for the last few days, for the last week, I've just been singing the Ballad of the Witch's Road over and over and over. And I've noticed something that has given me a theory I haven't heard yet. The lyrics are cute. We've been told by Jack Schaefer that the lyrics do mean a lot. They're kind of a map to the rest of the story, so we can read between the lines and interpret it as much as we can. The director has given us license to do so. In the first verse, the second line says, "Gather sisters, fire, water, earth, and air." So that stands to reason that at some point, each of the witches will come to represent one of those elements, fire, water, earth, and air, leaving the fifth witch to probably represent spirit. And there is a lyric in the second verse, "If sun be gone, we carry on, spirit as our guide." So perhaps that witch who represents spirit by that point will need to lead them. I don't know who else is going, I don't know who's going to die, but anyway, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, so I will pull back I do have an idea though, like what better way for someone to represent spirit than to die and come back as a ghost? You would certainly represent spirit if you were in a spirit form, which is entirely possible in this kind of mythology. Another lyric that is particularly noteworthy is in the second chorus. It ends with maiden, mother, crone. Now, as most of us know now, it is the maiden, mother, and crone are the three faces of the triple goddess, which comes from this general idea of three phases of womanhood, one being before adolescence, one being from adolescence to menopause, and one being from menopause to death. And those three phases are represented by the young woman, the mother, and the old woman. But this female trinity, the notion of a female trinity goes back a very, very long way, way back to like Proto-Indo-European mythology, very ancient times. There have been triple female trinities for many, many millennia. And the goddess Diana, who was often associated with the moon, was worshipped as a triple goddess from around the 6th century before Christ, or before the current era. She was worshipped particularly at Lake Nemi, which is about 50 kilometers south of Rome, a place definitely worth visiting. It's a sacred lake in a volcano, and that's where the cult of Diana, or the Oretian cult, was based. There are some very particularly interesting practices that went on there. You should read about Rex Nemorensis and the worship of Diana at Lake Nemi, or better yet, visit Lake Nemi. It's definitely worth it. Anyway, sorry, I need to control which rabbit holes I go down. I have a tendency to kind of worship down everything. But at any rate, this I am going somewhere. So the triple moon, maiden, mother, crone, is represented by the symbol of the triple moon, which you may know is the crescent moon, full moon, and another crescent moon. So the first crescent moon represents the maiden, the full moon represents the mother, and the other crescent represents the crone. So we've got waxing crescent, full moon, waning crescent. And to show you a demonstration, this is my moon design. It combines the triple moon symbol, which you can see there, with the rune of Arwen in the center, which is the symbol of the Druids. And of course, the triple moon symbol is the symbol of, it's been adopted by neo-paganism and kind of become a symbol of the witches. And the tattoo combines them, which I like very much. I got it done on a supermoon, and it took 3 hours, which was just perfect. That's something else I was going to get changed into. I wasn't just going to be a cat and appear naked on the camera, but anyway, just hold on while I get dressed. Okay, much better. Thank you for bearing with me. Where was I? All right, so the triple moon symbol represents the triple goddess, and the costume of Agatha Harkness in the comics, after she was rejuvenated and became young, has a triple moon on her chest. You can see here, she has a full moon on her chest, and on either side, a crescent. So they've woven the symbol of the triple goddess into Agatha's costume. I don't know how deep that goes into her character. I haven't exactly been reading her comics. It may just be a superficial component of her costume, but it's still a considerable nod to the maiden, mother, and crone anyway. And that is a connection to what we're hearing in Agatha All Along, this mention of maiden, mother, and crone. It's nice to hear that in association with a portrayal of witchcraft, because, I get a bit tired of the not that I get tired of this purely magical style, but I do like it when they incorporate real world elements, like touches of real paganism. I didn't particularly love the idea of a magic song. Where does that magic come from? Does it come from the person who composed the song, or did the person who composed the song just weave magic into it? Like, how does that work? It's a little bit twee to have in my opinion, to have a song just being magic. So naturally, I wanted to overthink the situation. And I was thinking about the motif of bells. This is a Tibetan singing bowl, technically an upright bell. It will elicit a tone if you run it around the rim, but you can also strike it like a regular bell, which I'm not too fond of. It's a little more percussive than I prefer. The bell has been used many times in Agatha All Along, in case you haven't noticed. Even when the logo appears, you hear a bell. At the beginning of the Ballad of the Witches' Road, there is a bell. At the end of the Ballad of the Witches' Road, there is a bell. In between each verse, there is a bell. And Agatha rings a bell. So in case you hadn't noticed, there's a very strong motif they're kind of donging us over the head with. Another element to that I noticed was during the D23 performance when they were singing the Ballad of the Witches' Road. I'll get tired of saying that string of words. Catherine Hahn, if you watch it, go and watch the YouTube video of the D23 Ballad performance, and you will see Catherine Hahn going like this with her arm, with her hand, and it looks like she's got a bell in her hand and she's ringing it. I mean, it really looks to me like this is a bell ringing motion. You interpret it as you will, but that's what it looked like to me. And so there's this bell, the idea of bell ringing kind of coded in at the highest level. It's not just a casual motif. And Jack Schaefer is very, very intentional. I'm surprised I hadn't seen anything about her until now. I loved WandaVision so much. It's my favorite Marvel product ever. I have watched it about 10 times through, and there is no Marvel movie or series that has gripped me quite as much as WandaVision. Its mystery, its charm, the emotion, it gets me emotional every time, and that is quite an accomplishment. So I want to mention this motif of bells even occurring in other aspects of fantasy, just to communicate how well embedded it is and how you may remember it from other things. Remember in The Magician's Nephew in the Chronicles of Narnia, when Polly and Diggory have gone into the dead world of Charn, and in that no, stop it moment, they ring the bell, and the bell breaks the enchantment and wakes up Jadis, who then becomes the White Witch. So this bell ringing is a very powerful gesture. It has this incredible magical strength, and the tone of the bell never goes away. It just keeps building and building, like the singing bowl. Perhaps he was inspired by hearing this, although I doubt he was exposed to it. But the bell in The Magician's Nephew was building and building and building until this tone just broke it, destroyed the entire building, and the palace crumbled. In Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, the sound of bells ringing is associated with fairy magic. Every time the gentleman with thistledown hair appears, fairy bells can be heard ringing. Anytime fairy magic is occurring, there's bells. So in not just this project, but all across mythology, there's an association of bells with magic and with fairies. And here's the fun part. So I didn't like the idea of, as I said, just this conveniently magical song. And if it was magic and it needed 5 witches to do it, well, Sharon Davis really wasn't in on it. By the way, shout out to Deborah Jo Rupp, who I absolutely adore. She can just keep on acting for the rest of her life, please. I adore her in everything that she's in. I think everyone does. You can't not like Deborah Jo Rupp. It's just not allowed. And what was I saying? if the song was magic and they all needed to participate, then that doesn't make sense, because Sharon Davis wasn't participating in most of it. But she was participating at the end in the climax. She was really getting into it. And it was a very funny moment to see her jumping up and down. She was really putting her energy into it. That's what I want you to hold that thought. Sharon Davis was putting her energy into it during the climax of the song. And as they run through that beautiful 5-part harmony in that moment, I wish that I had written down the timestamp of when to listen to. I can't exactly play it during my video because they will probably, Disney will probably smack me on the wrist, and I don't want to get a whipping from the mouse. I apologize that my lighting situation has just changed. Something ran out of battery. When they are singing that beautiful round of down, down, down the road, down, down, down the road, as they keep repeating it, you hear this down, 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 which sounds very much like ding dong, down, down, ding dong. Can you hear it? It really sounds like bells. In the climax of the song, and the only part of the song when all of them have pulled their energy and combined what they're doing, they sound like bells. And I think that that's when the magic happens. Everything that comes before them, everything that comes before that is a warm-up. It's a series of dry runs. It's full of clues and warnings to let them know what the rest of the Witch's Road might be like. But it's also designed to align them. It's designed to get their voices harmonized and their energy elevated. It's designed to get them really singing together and humming. And they wouldn't be able to perform that magic just going into it dry. They need the warm-up of the song and these kind of practice rounds in the chorus. And then when they get to that point, they are ready to put their all into it in the climax, and they just sound like a chorus of bells. It is fantastic. And so I think that the 5 witches putting their magic or their energy into the song like that, they themselves ring a magical bell with their voices. And there's so many clues to that. I don't know if this affects the mythology at all. It could be completely incidental. But it is a motif I particularly enjoy, and it's such a strong motif. I really think that we can, as I said, read in between the lines as much as we want. So yeah, the song is just packaging. It's like a practice cycle. And when they've woven their energies together, they're ready to do the magic. And so as they ring this magical bell with their voices, it's like they're ringing, let us in, let us in. And the road opened for them, the door opened. And just in time, of course. I hope you like that theory. I haven't heard anyone else come up with it. So I'm really excited to see where this show goes. I love any show that gives us the chance to see such experienced actors, and seeing Patti LuPone, she is a real scene stealer for me. I mean, every time she's on the screen, she's just captivating. And every time I listen to the Ballad of the Witch's Road, I just think, yes, Patti LuPone, I hear you, I hear you. You are not a witch, you are a goddess. So bring it on. I can't wait to hear about their histories and learn why they've lost their powers, why they're bound, and can't wait to discover how many people are aligned with Mephisto. Maybe everyone. I'm glad Jack finally gave us the big M. It was about time. I think everyone would have rioted if it didn't happen, especially with the subject nature of this particular show. So with all of that, thank you for listening to me ramble about the triple goddess, the triple moon symbol, the Ballad of the Witch's Road, and Agatha All Along. I wasn't expecting to record this video, so who knows, I may end up recording more about Agatha as we go along. I wish you a very good night and sweet dreams, and enjoy the next episode. Good night.